Hello everybody, my name is Drake, and welcome back to Spooky Scary Saturdays, the show where, as the week comes to a close, I watch a spooky scary movie and tell you what I thought about it. This week's episode is 1980's The Fog, directed by the prolific John Carpenter. Now, I've seen a couple other John Carpenters, and I pretty much universally love them all. The Thing is an all-time, best. It's one of the best horror movies. I've seen Halloween, of course. Halloween's great. I love the directing in that one. I've also seen In the Mouth of Madness, which I think doesn't exactly hit as good as the rest of them, but it is still a plenty good movie. If you are a fan of John Carpenter's most prolific work and want something a little bit more obscure, then go check out The Fog. This one, it's up there with the other. It is really, really good. Underrated, if I dare say so myself. So please, if you're a Carpenter fan and have only seen the big hitters without any of the other ones, I suggest to go check it out and then come back here and finish the rest of the video. I really think that movies should be lit more like this, like movies in general. But I've seen online people talk about this all the time. Everything is so flatly lit nowadays. There's no style, there's no substance to any lighting and anything. And watching a movie like this, which has such gorgeous use of darkness and the contrasting light and everything about it, and things that I am definitely not entirely qualified to specifically say why it's good, but I can tell that it's really damn good. This is one of those movies that you see it and you're like, man, we've really lost something in the modern era. Obviously, you can have well-lit movies nowadays in the modern age. I'm not being that hyperbolic. I'm saying, no, movies can't look good anymore. They can only look bad. But I will say, compare your average, B horror movie, or just B movie in general, versus a modern, B movie, and just compare how they look. And the old one, mogs the new one, to a ridiculous degree. It's not even comparable. Your average middle-of-the-road movie looked and therefore felt way better to watch back in the day than nowadays. But I still think this year has been quite good for movies. But we're not talking about this year right now. We're talking about the year 1980, where The Fog was released. What a unique kind of plot this has going for it. I didn't do that. I didn't really research into it, if this was an original story. It seems very Lovecraftian. I don't know if it was a direct Lovecraft story, but it certainly felt similar in lots of ways, with this overwhelming, nigh unstoppable force approaching, sense of dread throughout the whole thing. Also, it's kind of aquatic themed, which Lovecraft's work always had some sort of connection to the ocean in the ways of fear of the unknown and the unfathomable depth of the ocean and all those kind of things. This is just such a blend of so many different genres and ideas. The plot is zombie ghost pirates invading 100 years after they die due to a curse or whatever. What a crazy, and it's got a Lovecraftian pirate ghost zombie crew. What a movie! What a movie! From that premise, I didn't even know that was the premise. I saw the title. I was like, oh, that's cool. I saw it was John Carpenter. I was like, oh, that's cool. I want to check out more of his stuff. And I saw it had Jamie Lee Curtis, and I was like, oh, fun times. Halloween, John Carpenter, Jamie Lee Curtis. Wow, we're really retreading familiar ground here. It also has Tom Atkins in it, which what a funny crossover we have here. We have the original Halloween protagonist, and then the weird Halloween 3 alternate universe protagonist, both crossing over as the leads in this movie, which I think is very, very funny. I'm a big Halloween 3 believer. That's my favorite Halloween movie, is the weird one. That's another one that people have to check out if you haven't. If you haven't seen Halloween 3, because you heard it was like, oh, it's the Halloween movie without Michael Myers. Why would I even bother watch that? It's good. It's really good. And something that movie has in common with this movie is they both have these really, like, spooky atmospheres. You know, I think specifically as opposed to, I don't know, to me, it's got that Halloween aesthetic. You know, right? It's in a way that Halloween is a brighter holiday, but it's still, like, scary. Right, you know, the fog rolls in with it's like neon green, and the zombies are, they're not grotesque, right? It's not a gory movie or anything. It's a spooky movie, right? It's got that bit of levity to it, that bit of gravitas, that exaggerated sort of vibrancy to it that you only really see around Halloween, as opposed to something, it's not gritty and serious or anything like that. It's as opposed to like a 2000s like horror movie. Like I imagine, I heard that this movie has like a 2000s remake, as many horror movies did back in the early 2000s, and I severely doubt that remake looks anything like this, or is toned anywhere similar to this. I feel like all those 2000s remakes were all so strangely, like, gritty, and, like, gray, and kind of more, it's hard to describe, but this 1980s The Fog feels a lot more fun, is what I'm trying to get at here. It's not trying to be dark and gray. It's literally dark, but it's not trying to be tonally dark. It's trying to have some. You're meant to enjoy it, really. I'm trying to think of whether, because I kind of said it with they're like ghost zombies or whatever. I can't decide whether they're ghosts or zombies. You know, what would I classify them? This is not important at all to the review and does not impact the total rating at all, but in my head I'm like, they act like ghosts, right? They summon along in with the fog, and they come back because of like it's all very, they like haunt the original town and everything. That's all very ghost-like, but in terms of their physical characteristics, they're basically just zombies. They're able to be stopped by doors. They have to use like weapons to damage people, so that acts more like a zombie. But they like aesthetically and physically, they're like zombies, but in terms of their lore and sort of iconography, they're ghosts. What do I determine these days? It's a very fun mix. Can't say that I've seen something quite like this before, so it's fun. Even though it's only like an hour and a half movie, sometimes I felt like it was a bit slow, like not crazy slow. Like really, again, it is an hour and a half movie, but a lot of this is just taking in that sort of like seaside atmosphere, right? Which I think works to an extent, but I do feel like it drags a little bit in that first like 2/3, and then it really speeds up during the ending, and then it gets really, really engaging. But I feel like it might spend a little too much time getting into the swing of things, you know? Not the biggest deal in the world. I'm just surprised because, again, it is a rather short movie. But I do partially understand it's trying to get that sort of like spring sort of like beach aesthetic or whatever. It really, you familiarize yourself with the town first, and that sort of atmosphere before you get into the crazy spooky stuff. You have they sprinkle in a few encounters throughout those beginning like 2 acts, and then they really hammer it home in the ending, just to keep you engaged about the beginning. But I don't know, they could have hurt. Did we have to see did they have to see a bunch of scenes of them setting up the festival or whatever? Probably not, but it's not that big a deal. Something funny that happened when I was watching the movie was that at the beginning of the movie, it makes a big deal about like midnight to 1 a.m., like, you know, the witching hour being like specifically the time when the ghosts invade, or whatever. And at the very beginning of the movie, when it's got the sailor telling the ghost story, which is also very good. It's a great opening scene. Really does add to the atmosphere again. He was like, it's 11:55 right now, when he has his like pocket watch or whatever. And I look down at my like 5 minutes to midnight, and look down at my phone, and it's like 11:53, and I'm like, if I had started this movie 2 minutes later, it would have been so incredibly funny. It would have been great. Now, next time I watch this, I need it to be like April 21st, whatever they say. I need to keep that date in mind so I can really immerse myself in. I think the movie would have been a million times. I think it would have been Destiny if I had gotten to that point in the movie and it was 11:55, and the fact that I was so close is so funny to me, man. Again, a lot of this has nothing to do with the movie, but it was a very fun experience actually watching this movie from like 12 to around 1 in the morning. Very, very funny coincidence. Oh, and that ending is just classic like pulp horror kind of ending, where you think the ghosts have all gone, but at the very last second, they show back up to get one final kill. Utterly classic. Obviously, you can see it coming, right? It is the most obvious ending they could have done. But hard cut to black as the pirate captain or whatever swings his sword. So super fun. The whole movie has a lot of these kind of it's a very predictable movie. When all the jump scares are coming and everything, but they still get you, right? They still kind of get you just because of how well they're done, and how engrossed in the moment you are. Very, very cool stuff. But yeah, what did you guys think about the movie? I thought it was great. Did you think it was great? Do you have any suggestions for my next Carpenter? Because I'm loving him so far. It seems like this guy really did know what he was doing. I mean, it sounds like he's dead or something. I just don't think he's been directing in a while. What was the last thing he did? I really don't remember. Anyways, that's all for today's episode. See you guys next week.